Because guess what? Now you have allowed God to be the recruiter. You have allowed God to be the recruiter. Because what you did, you asked God to do you. Hey, send it. This is even within our marriage. Send it. Hey, send me some help, God. This is even in our singleness. Send it, God. Send me some help. This is even in our dealing with kids and without being married. Send it, God. Versus saying, I need to find. I need to find. Look at this for a minute. For single parents, these strategies often involve managing finances and finding child care while also dealing with emotional stress. When you are trying to manage things, guess what happens? You are dealing with emotional what? Stress. Huh? I'm trying to manage all these bills, but I got more bills than money. I'm trying to manage how to be able to date and cope and things, and I got my children right here. And I don't want my children just to see anybody. I don't want my children to deal with just anybody. And then if I'm by myself, I don't want to just deal with what? Anybody, because I don't want to be hurt. Look at this. The reason why we become hurt is because guess what we're doing? We are allowing ourselves to come in the way instead of letting God control us along the way. And that's why it's imperative for us to do what? Hey, God, you send what I need. But look at this, in a marriage, you got to be what? Ready. Being single, you got to be what? Ready. Being a parent single, you got to be what? Ready. And in dealing with adulthood, you got to be what? Ready. Because you have 50, 60, 70-year-old kids that ain't what? Ready. Huh? Look at this. A study by the American Psychological Association found that married couples tend to report higher level of emotional support compared to single parents or individuals. Look at this. In fact, 70% of married couples report feeling supported emotionally by their spouse, while single parents often feel overwhelmed and under-supported. Why is that? Check this out. The reason of that is because normally in a marriage, you have somebody that's going to do what? Hold you accountable. When you're single, you are seeking for somebody to do what? Hold you accountable. Did we know that in life we all like to be what? Held accountable, but write this down. We don't like to be told what to do. We like to be held accountable. Guess what? We don't like to be told what to what? Do. How many don't like to be told what to do? Anybody else? Somebody line up in here. How many don't like to be told what to do? Huh? So we can somebody tell you what to do and you all right? But within this, look at this. The task is being able to understand who you are and that person is in your life. Who you are when you're single and who you're reporting to. Because look at this. We all have somebody that's going to tell us what to do. If it's your boss man, you're going to have to do what? Listen or do what? Get fired. If it's your spouse, you're going to do what? Listen or what? Or be lonely. If it's even you being single, you're going to have somebody to do what? Instruct you, because sometimes you're going to need some me time. Nobody wants to be what? By themselves. Nobody wants to be what? Secluded by themselves. So we all need someone to give us directional support to show us what? Hey, you're accountable. Biblical focus on this. Proverbs 22:6. Let's go there. It says, start children off on the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not return from it. And also the regular King James Version says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he get older, he won't depart. Parent, especially as a single parent, can deeply shape one's identity. Look at that. Parenting can shape your what? Identity. I never forget this when I was growing up. My daddy would cook a meal called Daddy Funk. Daddy Funk consisted of wieners, tomato sauce, and uncooked, no, wieners, tomato sauce, bell pepper that wasn't cooked all the way, onion that wasn't cooked all the way, and the rice wasn't cooked all the way. And he tell us to eat. But now we may say, man, who gonna eat that? But you know what my dad used to say? If you hungry, you gonna eat it. Look at that. Many times. Who will eat that? Anybody in the house? If I don't have to eat it, I won't eat it. But guess what? I ate it because I was what? Hungry. And this right here, when we train our kids, when we train ourselves, this is an emotional thing right here. When we train ourselves to understand the benefit and the factor of being able to be happy with what we got, this is when God can bless us to get to where we need to become. And that's a Tony Evans theory. You will never become not being grateful to have that what? That tomato sauce. That wieners. Many people don't have that. But when you have just something to eat, you should be what? Grateful. And when you learn as being young to be what? Grateful, then God can do what? Elevate. Because now I know I can at least eat some beans and I'm all right. Now I know I can eat some wieners and be all right. Now I know I can put some wieners with some tomato sauce in, but I'm going to cook my rice a little longer to make sure it's good, and I'm going to be all right. But we have to learn how to be what? Huh? We have to learn how to be what? Write this down. Stop saying what you don't have. Stop saying what you don't have. Stop saying what you don't have. Learn to thank God for what you do have. Because look at this. I can remember when my dad didn't have no money. My mama didn't have no money. Yeah, I can remember them days. You know, I can remember them little days, the mayonnaise sandwiches. I can remember that. I can remember that nasty sardines. And he tell me, Pop, me and my mom said, you better eat it or hey, you're going to be hungry. I can remember that, but I can also appreciate that because that taught me in my adulthood, hey, I have some skills to go eat what I need to eat to be all right. That taught me having my children, hey, we're going to eat this and we're going to be what? All right. And that taught me in my marriage, hey, we're going to eat what we have and we're going to be what? All right. And this is where we should be as who? Children of God. To no matter where we at in our life, hey, we're going to be what? Is that real? Look at this. According to the study of national marriage projecting, it shows also that marriages are transformed just like people are transformed. And it comes from maturity. Marriages are what? Transformed like what? People are what? Transformed. And it comes through what? Maturity. Everybody will have and experience a time to do what? Grow up. Do y'all know that? How many can say they have grown up? Huh? I never forget dealing with C.J. Jarris, DeMarcus, and Kelly, especially DeMarcus. You know, it was a time in where I would whoop DeMarcus with everything, but everything. I'm just being truthful. He had him whoop that behind and everything. But guess what? I was taught that from my experience. But as I learned better, I did what? Better. Write that down. See, we have to learn the psychological view of who we are in a biblical kingdom. A biblical kingdom, we don't deal with ignorance, but we learn in maturity. Dealing with ignorance is I do what my parents do and don't find a solution and keep a problem. You can beat the hell out your children, but hey, they still gonna have a problem if you don't talk to them. If you don't share with them what's really going on. You can even have a spouse. You can fight the spouse physically, mentally, hey, emotionally, and guess what? You still have a problem until you find a way to do what? Solve it. You can even deal with it in your adulthood. You can have a problem in your mind. How many got problems? Be real. Huh? Everybody got what? Huh? You got a problem? I got a problem. We all have what? But write this down. Solution makers. Solution makers. Help us to go to kingdom makers. Solution makers. Help us to go to kingdom makers. What is kingdom makers? The Bible says we overcome by the word of our what? Testimony. That's why it's imperative whatever you have done in your experience of life, it's good to be able to do what? Huh? Give your testimony. Give your testimony. Why do you think so many single people can't handle being single? Anybody? Because nobody that's married now can tell you what? Testimony. Why do you think so many single parents want to give up because nobody want to tell they what? Testimony. Why do you see so many people, hey, giving up with life because nobody want to tell they what? Testimony. I ask this question to all of us, who giving a testimony? Hey, I can remember when I was broke, didn't have a job, used to nigger rig them lights to get them lights. I remember when I had to go outside and turn that water on because I didn't have a job. And I didn't want my kids to stink. Just being real, I can remember having to go pick up my kids from the courthouse, not the courthouse, the jailhouse. And no, I didn't have no money and lying to people I got money. I remember them days. But who is giving their what? Testimony. People, write this down. This is a theory right here. Erikson, the development theory of Erikson is a theory of generatively, Generativity, generatively. And stagnation is when you get in the middle of manhood and not know what to do. When you get in the middle of what? Manhood and not know what to do. That means when you become older and not know what to do. And the reason why many people don't know what to do is because guess what? They've never been what? Taught. They've never been taught. They've never been taught. Some of us never been taught on how to keep a man. Some of us never been taught on how to keep a woman. Some of us never been taught on how to be loved. Some of us never been taught how to love. Some of us never been taught how to treat people. Hey, and if we don't understand that, we will stay what? Stagnated in our lives. That's the reason why you have so many people walk around with a smile on their face on the outside, but on the inside they're wore out. Because guess what? They've never been what? Taught. They've never been taught. They've never been taught how to have family. So when they're around the presence of many people, they don't know how to deal with it. They've never been taught how to have that woman that loves them because they always been cheated on. Or that man that loves because they always been cheated on. They've never been taught. And so if they've never been taught, look at this. They've never been what? Tamed. And the reason why they haven't been T-A-M-E is because they've never been T-R-A-I-N. They've never been that. And this is the theory right here where Erikson is stating, if you don't understand the generative, however you say it, it becomes stagnation. And when stagnation come in, now it's a building block to hinder your what? Progress. That's why many people do what? Fall. Many people fall because guess what? They don't know how to deal with what? Progress. Have you ever seen people go up and then all of a sudden back down? Why is that? Have you ever, they call these people bipolar, but really they're not bipolar. What has happened, some people don't understand what? Progress. And this theory is what Erikson is stating, that many don't understand progress. And so therefore, look at this. Here's another study. According to the Pew Research of 2020, individuals, couples, tend to have higher levels of life satisfaction when they learn how to have peers to teach them progress. That's why it's good to be around people that like what? Progress. Meaning, write this down. Stop hanging around people that ain't trying to do better. No matter where you at in life, try to do what? Better. Use the negative to build what? Positive. Use the what? Negative to build what? said, I used my negatives and made them what? Oprah Winfrey didn't get a chance until she became over 40 years old because she did what? Use her negatives and became what? Positive. Many people. And that's because of the maturity theory. And if you don't mind, write this down. The social stigma and support theory is when you learn how to use what's negative and make it positive. Meaning they had told me I wasn't going to make it, but guess what? Hey, my mind tell me I'm going to do what? Huh? Talk about my mind tell me I'm going to make it. They told me, hey, I won't make it with my children. But my mind told me I shall make it with my children. They told me I will never be married. And guess what? My mind and my heart and my spirit said I shall be what? Married. They told me my marriage wasn't going to work. But my mind, my spirit, and my what? Heart said it shall work. Because guess what? I put a what? I put it in my what? Where did I put it in? Where did we put it in? Huh? What else we put it in? We put it in the perspective of understanding the relationship with who? Our covenant maker. Our covenant maker. Our covenant maker. Things going on in our lives. Do we give it to covenant maker or do we give it to just whoever? Our covenant maker. Huh? How many got some things going on in their mind? Ooh. Who do we give it to? Huh? Give it to God. But I ask this question, and when we know that, hey, I need more help than God, do we go get help? Do we go get help? Huh? Ask that question to somebody. Do you go get help? Ask that question. Come on, ask that question to somebody. Do you go get help? Huh? Do you go get help? Think about some things that you're going through. Do you go get help? Huh? Think of some unresolved issues that you got going on with your life. Do you go get help? Think about some things, family curses that you dealing with and your family dealing with. Do you go get help? And yes, you got to go get what? Help. You got, look at this right here. This is something right here that Billy Graham stated. Billy Graham said, look at this. When people are truly transformed with the power of Christ, they seek help. When people are truly, when they truly, hey, when you don't want to stay the same, when you don't want to be the same, you go seek what? Help. If I'm not married, hey, and I got children, and I know I can't do it by myself, I need to go get what? Help. If I know I'm an adult and I'm balancing things with myself, I know I need to go get what? Help. If I know I'm in a marriage and I don't know what to do in my marriage, I know I need to go get what? Help. Stop using a blaming theory. Write this down, a blaming theory. A blaming theory, according to Morrison, a blaming theory is what we use for Hagar in the Bible. Hagar went forth and thought she was going to take over Sarah's house. Think about some of us. Any of us have ever messed with a married man or a married woman? Thinking you're going to take over somebody else's house? Anybody else have dealt with that in their mind, thinking you're going to take over somebody else's house? Look what Hagar did. Hagar thought she was going to take over Sarah's house. Abraham was just trying to find satisfaction. Think about our lives. Just trying to find satisfaction. But now you got a Hagar. But guess what Hagar do? Because she's by herself and she don't know what to do. She don't go get help. Guess what she do? Huh? Huh? She try to figure things out herself. And go do what? Huh? Huh? Be with a married man and guess what? Start picking. Guess what we start doing sometimes? We start picking. How do we pick? We married to this woman, but guess what? We still thinking about the other woman. We married to this man, but we still thinking about the other man. Pick. How do you know you picking? I'm not going to give sex. All of us grown in here, and I know I'm married. I'm not going to show no attention, and I know I'm married. I'm not going to even show no real love, and I know I'm married. Singleness. How do we pick? Look don't supposed to do it, but I do it anyway. Women lifting their dresses up and showing a man, or even giving a man before time. When are you supposed to give a man? You. Until you get what? Married. But how many do that? Picking. Huh? Because if you give it to the goodies before time, guess what's going to happen? You don't know if he's going to stay with you anyway. And even men, we give ourselves up just like that. All it takes is just, we give it up. Picking. But guess what picking do? Look what happened. Because Hagar couldn't have them. Now guess what? She get put out. And many times in life, guess what happens to us? We get, write this down, put out. Because now guess what has happened? Our emotions have taken over our spiritual responsibility. Our emotions. Because now we're in love with somebody that ain't in love with us. In a marriage. You know you're not in love. In singleness. You can't even deal with your children now because guess what? You're in love with this man that ain't loving you. Some of you get welfare checks. Some of you get your paycheck and you give it to that man that don't love you. And guess what? Now your children suffer. Or even in adulthood. We go and try to buy love. Buy rounds of beer, liquor, and go here and go there, trying to seek who we are. But guess what we're doing? We're picking. Now look at this. In the picking stage, look what Hagar go do. Now she's in the wilderness. Be careful in the wilderness. Write that down. Be careful in the wilderness. Because after she left the house, now she's in the wilderness. And guess what happens? When people let you go, sometimes it causes you to be in the what? Wilderness. Anybody ever been there before besides me? Wilderness. Because I'm trying to decide, I'm going to kill that person. I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do back to that person. I'm going to try to decide how I'm going to be able to deal with that person. Because guess what? My life is in the what? Wilderness. And now guess what? I become sick. And everything around me become what? Sicker. Why many people don't know how to deal with people? Because they what? Sicker. Why people can't, love like they needed love? Because they're sicker. When we start hearing people on the news killing one another, it ain't just happened just like that. What is going on? Some people in the wilderness that are what? Sicker. When we start hearing things that's going on that you know it ain't right, hey, that's because people are what? Sicker. And what are we doing? Anybody? Are you giving your testimony? Just because somebody's living a homosexual life, do we give up on them? Huh? Just because somebody living an adulterous life, do we give up on them? Just because somebody's living a whoremongering life, do we give up on them? Just because somebody living a lie life, do we give up on them? See, guess what happens? Because we sick, we make everybody what? Sicker. Huh? We make everybody sicker. How we make everybody? We point at what? Huh? We point to what? Because as Hagar was in the wilderness, guess what she started doing? Thinking about how Abraham did her. She thought about how Abraham. Write this down. You got to let some stuff go when it lets you go. You got to. You got to let some stuff go when it lets you go. The reason why many times when you go forth with something better, hey, you can't even experience something better because you ain't let it what? Go. You ain't let it go. You haven't let it go. How do you know you let it go? Huh? How do you know you let it go? Because when you're dealing with that person, it don't remind you of that other person. It don't remind you of that. Look at this as we close out with this part. How do you build? Ecclesiastes 4, 9 and 10. It speaks about the value of companionship and relationship. Because it says two are better than what? One. Two are better than what? Huh? Two are better than what? Huh? Meaning, ladies, ain't nothing wrong with just finding you a male friend. If you in God. Until God send you what? Your good male. Your godly man. Ain't the men, ain't nothing wrong with having what? A female friend. Because if you don't learn how to deal with the opposite sex, you'll never be able to understand the opposite sex. So many people want to do what? Hey, I don't need that. I don't want that around me. It's too much temptation. The reason why it's too much temptation is because we haven't learned self-control. And we haven't been taught. Just because you meet something don't mean it's supposed to be what? Huh? It don't mean you're supposed to be in the bed with it. Don't mean that. Some things are just called ministry. Write that down. Some things are just called ministry. Everybody ain't for us to do what? Hanky-panky with it. And you shouldn't do hanky-panky until you get married anyway. Some things are just called ministry. But then we allow soul ties to come in because guess what? We start doing hanky-panky. And this closing right here says, two are better than one because they have good return for their what? Labor. It's good to have people that you can be able to talk to. It's good to have people that have kingdom minded like you have kingdom minded. Because guess what happens now? Now you know how to relate. And when you know how to relate, now going back to the beginning, the thief come to do what? The thief come to do what? See, guess what? When you learn how to relate, guess what? A thief can't do what? Huh? When you learn how to relate, a thief can't do what? Huh? When you learn how to relate, I mean, I recognize that. Huh? Fool me once, you won't do what? Huh? This is something real deep with all of us. Many of us been what? Fooled. Huh? Have anybody been fooled? Huh? Anybody been fooled before? Be real. How do you know you've been fooled? Be real. Anybody want to just say, how you know you've been fooled? Huh? Pain, look at that. Ooh, it feels horrible to be what? Ooh, usually you, and they looking at you, man, please, I don't want you like that. And you done gave all your money. You done did all that. And they looking at you. How you doing all that? You married. And you, and you trying to just enjoy. And they, you press that. You love somebody, you ain't thinking about their breath. Even if you do got to go tell them brush their teeth. But you just glad to have them. And you know how to deal with them. Even if they, whatever stink. Whatever stink. You still know how to deal with them. Real talk. When you love them. And check this out because it's not enough, and there are no kids in here. Hey, when you are married, you let them have it. Unless something wrong. And if something wrong, communicate about it. Communicate about it. Communicate. Don't just not give. You don't do that. The word says don't do that. Corinthians 7 tells you not to do that. Your body is not your body, and his body ain't his body. His body and your body belong to each other. So anytime, and the only time you're supposed to do that is doing fasting. Doing fasting. And if you don't do it, you don't love that person. That's the word. You don't. That's the word. And then not just that, it's single life. You don't just go to bed with just anything. You don't. Because guess what? If you going to bed with him, who else going to bed with him? Tara and he going to bed with him. Real talk. Real talk. And that's why we have to be able to understand. Got to understand. Got to understand. And in adulthood, got to understand, hey, I don't just deal with just what? Anybody. Don't put everybody in your what? Business. Don't put everybody in your what? Life. Huh? Why you don't put everybody in your life? Huh? Because some people that come in your life will do what? Destroy your what? Life if you don't watch it. You got to be careful. Everybody that come around you ain't really what? Huh? You heard Mother Walker? And not just that, everybody that come around, some of them trying to do what? See what they can get out of you or destroy you. So we have to look at these values. We have to look at these values. We have to research these values. We have to understand these things. And this is something that God even expects out of his children. Because the more I learn, the better I become. A man that don't learn nothing is a man that stay what? Stagnated in all things. And becomes more folly. But a man that do what? Learn becomes what? Wise. And a wise man do what? Buildeth this house, and a fool do what? Tear it down. Any questions? Any concerns? Let's give God a hand clap of praise.